Hi, I'm Rutais, and this is a video response to the chapter 3 of Understanding Comics by Scott McCloud. So, in this chapter, Scott focuses on our inability to perceive everything in the world. So, as kids, Scott mentions that we only believe the things that we see in front of us. The things that the eyes could not perceive did not exist, even though that thing we now know it still exists, but the eyes cannot see them. So, we as children, we believe that it did not exist. So, Scott introduces a very important term which is used in comics, closure. Closure is defined as observing the parts but perceiving the wholes. So, to understand this, let me give you the example of the game Peekaboo we all played as kids. So, whenever the mother says Peekaboo and the mother kind of goes behind the hands, the baby or the child thinks the mother does not exist, even though the mother is still there. The baby can't see, so whatever the eyes can perceive, but it is there as a whole. Let me give you another example to elaborate the definition of closure. Now, when you're seeing at the mountain, you only see one part of the mountain, like a 2D form, isn't it? But if you go to actually try to rationalize, there's the other part of the mountain that you cannot see, but it is there on the other side. This is what closure means in comics. So in comics, closure is a silent secret that surpasses between the artist and the reader. So in comics, we have six panels, which are called moment to moment, action to action, subject to subject, scene to scene, aspect to aspect, and the last one is a non sequitur. So these panel types makes the reader kind of imaginate the things that surpasses between the moment in one panel and the moment in the next panel that is drawn. It lets the reader fill out the gaps that has not been drawn or spoken out in the comic books. For example, the artist is trying to draw the panel of a man going to hit a baseball bat. He's in action, and the next panel drawn is the ball already in the air. So the reader has to fill out the gap that the baseball man has already hit the ball, and this is called closure. Scott introduces another term in this chapter called gutter. Gutter is the space between two existing panels. It is the space where the human imagination takes two separate ways, two separate drawings, and makes it into a single idea, makes it into one sequence of action. So, in without the concept of closure, the comics of storytelling would be very choppy. It is the concept of closure in comic books that leads the imagination and perception of the human mind to make the story flow. So, in conclusion, this chapter tells us that comics gives the space between two panels. This is called gutter, which allows a specific purpose to connect the story. And the second term is closure, which is important to perceive the parts but that are not being seen as a whole.